Guys, I think this is an amazing news. Let's go ahead and jump into this video immediately. Apparently, Israel have decided, and Iran have decided to a complete and total ceasefire. Let's see exactly what that entails. This is a suggestion via a channel member.
And with Iran in the Middle East and some breaking news coming just now, joining us this evening, Vice President J.D. Vance. Mr. Vice President, thanks for coming.
Absolutely, thank you.
Just seconds ago, the president went to Truth Social and typed this. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. Complete and total ceasefire is what he typed.
Yep.
What does that mean? How did it come about? What's the development here?
Well, we were actually working on that just as I left the White House to come over here. So that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line. I think what it means, Brett, is quite simple. First of all, the president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. We are now in a place where we weren't a week ago. A week ago, Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it. So that's a very, very big thing. Now, what that means, I think, is we have to talk to Iran and, of course, to Israel about what the future holds. Because while we have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program, our hope and our expectation is that they're not going to try to rebuild that program. And I think that's what the president is really trying to figure out here, is to build a long-term settlement here to where we can have peace in the region, where our regional allies and, of course, the American people, most importantly, can be secured, but where we can ensure that the destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
Okay, but guys, what do they get out of it, though? Like, think about this here. Like, I understand what we get out of it. We get, survival, let's say, right? But what are they being offered? I think that's my question here.
Destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
Because people just don't come to the table.
In just a minute, but I just want to read this fully so I get the context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours. At which point, the ceasefire for 12 hours.
Sure.
At which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. He seems confident
Absolutely,
that this is all coming together.
That's right.
And when you left the White House, were you thinking this was all gelling here?
When I left the White House, I thought that we might be able to get it across the finish line before this broadcast, and it looks like the president has been able to do that. I mean, look, he's been working the phones constantly. Frankly, before the 12-day war started, but certainly over the past 12 days, the president's been extremely clear about America's national objective here. It is to create a world where Iran cannot build a nuclear weapon. We, of course, destroyed the nuclear program that they had, and the president told the entire team, we're going to work to make sure that they don't try to rebuild that nuclear capability in the future. And look, this is a great thing. For Israel, think about this. They've accomplished an important military objective. They've helped us destroy the Iranian nuclear program. They've also destroyed the conventional missile capability of Iran that threatened the country of Israel.
Yeah, for now.
For the Iranians, I think this is a new opportunity to actually pursue the path of peace. As I said yesterday, what the Iranians have showed through their support of terror networks, through their now failed effort to build a nuclear weapon, is that they're just not very good at war. And I think the president really hit the reset button and said, look, let's actually produce long-term peace for the region. That's always been his goal. I actually think when we look back, we will say the 12-day war was an important reset moment for the entire region.
Would you be surprised if Iran is sending out signals that it doesn't have a specific ceasefire plan? How would the communication have been with the Iranians to get this level of confidence to put out that detailed statement?
Well, one of the things I've learned, Brett, about the Iranians in the past, 4 or 5 months that I've been in this job is what they say publicly and privately can sometimes be very different. I think what the Iranians have shown very clearly
that's obvious
is they
based
don't
on
want
the
this war
protest
to go on for much longer. Their air defenses have been totally destroyed. Their conventional missile program has been largely destroyed. And of course, their nuclear program has been obliterated, as I said before. So I think the Iranians are at a place where they don't want to keep on fighting. You saw the president, and I don't have the truth in front of me, but he talked about the next 6 hours finalizing the attacks. I mean, I think what he's talking about is right now, for the American people watching, it's dark over there. That's typically when the Israelis and the Iranians have been shooting at each other. I think there's some recognition that that might continue for another few hours, and tomorrow really is a new day. The end of the 12-day war, the end of the Iranian nuclear program, and I really do believe the beginning of something very big for peace in the Middle East.
So you said totally obliterated. The president has said totally obliterated the Iran nuclear program.
Yeah.
Do you know for sure where all the highly enriched uranium is?
Well, Brett, I think that's actually not the question before.
It is a question. I'm going to be honest here. Like, it is a question because the problem is that this has been all over like every single news cycle for the last week or so. And I would say the majority of the individuals that were basically even making comments or talking or speaking specifically on this topic pretty much all understood that there was something coming. And the point that I'm trying to make here is that if we came up to that decision, imagine what multiple heads of state have come up to the decision. Like what type of decision they have come up with. Like everything in me tells me that, listen, I'm glad the mission went well, let's say. But I'm not on the team. I don't know. I'm a skeptic, guys. I'm not on the team of thinking that they didn't know what was coming and they didn't move things.
For us, the question before us is, can Iran enrich the uranium to a weapons grade level? And can they convert that fuel to a nuclear weapon? And we know, based on the success of our mission, of course, the leadership of the president, but the incredible skill of our military, that the two mission objectives are completely successful. We know that they cannot build a nuclear weapon. Now, you asked about the highly enriched uranium.
Yeah, like 900 pounds of it.
But what we know, Brett, is that uranium is something that exists in very large supply. Our goal was to bury the uranium, and I do think the uranium is buried. But our goal was to eliminate the enrichment and eliminate their ability to convert that enriched fuel into a nuclear weapon. I think this is an important point, Brett, because so many of the folks who have focused on the highly enriched uranium,
60%.
The main focus, Brett, has been to destroy their enrichment capacity because we don't want that 60% uranium to become 90% uranium. That's the real concern, and that's what was so successful about our mission.
So after all this, if the Iranian government survives as is, what's to stop it from rebuilding over time if they, in fact, moved the 60% highly enriched uranium? That's the concern.
Absolutely.
The big concern, Brett.
That's the concern. Listen, let's not pivot here. That is, in fact, the concern of the planet. Like specifically those who are outside, let's say looking in on the United States of America. Like, listen, guys, we understand what the mission statement currently is, let's say, right? But we need to figure out, if it was actually there, and if they're going to attempt to rebuild and say whatever is needed to be said while they're specifically in a very crippled state. Let's say this is a sovereign nation where Israel specifically preemptively struck them, yes, and during the complete bombardment of Iran, a lot of their missile defenses have been absolutely obliterated. They now know that they are a sovereign nation that do not have the ability to protect themselves, basically by any means, air, land, and sea. You get what I'm saying here? This is a nation with no defenses right now. So they're gonna say whatever needs to be said for them to basically build back up, guys. And that's kind of where I'm at here with this specific instance.
Brad, and this is again what we destroyed is their ability to enrich uranium. If they have 60% enriched uranium, but they don't have the ability to enrich it to 90%, and further, they don't have the ability to convert that to a nuclear weapon, that is mission success. That is the obliteration of their nuclear program, which is why the president, I think, rightly is using that term. But here's the question. If Iran is desperate to build a nuclear weapon in the future, then they're going to have to deal with a very, very powerful American military again. Our hope is that the lesson that the Iranians have learned here is, look, we can fly a bunker buster bomb from Missouri to Iran completely undetected without
Right.
landing once on the ground, and we can destroy whatever nuclear capacity you build up.
Okay.
I think that lesson is what's going to teach them not to rebuild their nuclear capacity.
Oh yeah, they're definitely 100% going to do it, guys. Like they've been attempting to for a pretty long time. Keep in mind here, the Ayatollah really, he basically stated that he had no real interest in doing so. Tulsi Gabbard also said the same exact thing. There's only one individual, Netanyahu specifically, who was, it was kind of in his benefit, let's say. Who knows? Okay, we're just all outsiders trying to figure out the actual truth of the matter here, and that's just the reality of the scenario here. But I do think that they will 100% attempt to enrich uranium again, guys. That's just the reality of the scenario here. They are threatening us. So they look at the protests that have been going on specifically in Tehran. You also have to realize that they really, really, really don't like us, guys.
Yesterday, were you speaking on the president's behalf when you said he was not interested in regime change?
Well, Brett, what I've said is the American military,
That would be smart.
that is not our mission as regime change. Our
Okay.
mission was to destroy the nuclear facilities and the nuclear program of Iran, which we, of course, did. I think what the president's also said is that the Iranian people want to make a decision about regime change. That's between the Iranian people and the regime. Of course, we support freedom fighters all around the world, but our mission was to destroy the nuclear facilities, and that's what we did.
So you don't think there's any mixed message when he goes to Truth Social and says it's not politically correct to use the term regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, why wouldn't there be a regime change?
Bars.
Well, I think what the president is saying very clearly, Brett, is if the Iranian people want to do something about their own leadership, that's up to the Iranian people. What the American national security interest here is very simple. It's to destroy the nuclear program. That's what we've done.
Right.
And now that the 12-day war appears to be effectively over, we have an opportunity, I think, to restart a real peace process. And Brett, this is not just about two countries, Iran and Israel. All of these Gulf Arab states, they want peace, they want to invest, they want to build artificial intelligence hardware, they want to sort of come into the new economy. And that was impossible when you had Iran that was, as the president said, acting like a bully across the Middle East. We really think that if the Iranians are smart about the path forward, this could be a new dawn of an economic age of prosperity, of course, for our Gulf Arab allies, for us, for the Israelis, for everybody, but it's going to require the Iranians play it smart from here.
The president called it very...
Yeah, guys. Okay. We're gonna move on from this here. Listen, the problem is that Iran specifically is ran by an Ayatollah and a bunch of mullahs that are absolutely zealots. Okay, they're full blown invested in their religion. Just like many other countries in the region, let's say, are also fully invested in their religion and their way of life. It all comes down to like a religious type of battle of wits here, right? And pretty much based off of the overall culture of some of the places, let's say, will basically dictate how they treat other people, right? Let's say here, right? Generally, when I've encountered, people that are Muslim or even Arab, right, in general, they've all been moderately peaceful, like some of the most peaceful people I've ever encountered in my entire life. But then you have the absolute zealots who are not sometimes, guys, right? I mean, they're excessively strict with their doctrine, if that makes any sense. Like, if you don't have the ability to change and adapt to the kind of the world that's around you, then yeah, you're kind of destined to get kind of lost in the sauce, if that makes any sense here, guys. But all right, guys, listen, let me know in the comments what you guys think. We can argue in the comments. I have no problem with that again, guys, right? But in the meantime, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.